Well, welcome. To our exciting panel discussion for discovering your true MER. I have a very experienced and very exciting panel. They're very excited about this particular topic. Each one of them have participated in looking at the multi-channel MER with real projects. So they're going to be sharing some of their experiences, and hopefully there will be lively debate. I wanted to start by saying we're going to hold the questions till the end. That way we can go through all of the slides that we prepared for you. And I'm going to spend probably the first 5 or 7 minutes on introducing the topic, setting up some background, giving you a little bit of market research information. And then the rest of the session, we're going to be just debating on specific topics. Hopefully we covered all the important topics that we heard from our customers and other companies that we've talked to. And I'm hoping that this will be an interesting session for you. So first, I'll start by doing introductions. I introduce myself. I'm Ranjit Mulgaonkar. I'm a founder and CEO of a company called DNA Response. We are a full-service marketing agency that provides sales, marketing, fulfillment, business intelligence to about 60 plus customers, most marketers on Amazon, eBay, Sears, Buy.com, which is Rakuten, and Newegg.com. These are marketplaces. So you'll hear a lot about Amazon, but don't forget there are other marketplaces as well that we're going to be referring to. So let me ask the panel members to introduce themselves, and then we can get started. Jeff.
Hi, I'm Jeff White. I'm the CEO of Media Analytics, and we're the proprietors and owners of the IMS report, which I'm sure many of you know. So we've been the leading market intelligence firm in the direct response space for 20 years. We collect information. Now we're in 3 continents, 160 networks, approximately 100 in the US, where we collect real-time data on all direct response TVs and all the attribution data that goes along with it. Excited to be here today with Ranjit and the rest of the panel. Its topic is very paramount to every one of you, whether you know it or not, and those of you that are here will know it by the end of the session for sure.
Tim?
Hi, I'm Tim Pearson. I'm the SVP of Direct Holdings Time Life. 2 years ago, we changed over to a new corporate name, Direct Holdings. You probably know us better as Time Life. You've seen our Carol Burnett DVD packages. We actually have put Hee Haw back on the air, so Nostalgia TV with DVDs and CDs. I manage the other side of the company, which is kitchen and beauty products. And today you'll hear a lot about our platform product, which is the Wolfgang Puck pressure oven.
Tricia?
Tricia Reddy. I'm a partner at Diary TV. We're a media buying and campaign management company. We've been in business for over 30 years and have witnessed a lot of transformation in this space, and also excited to talk about how these marketplaces affect what I do every day and the data I need in order to make good decisions for my clients.
My name is Andy Ferrer. I'm a toy guy. I launched a toy company in 1994. We've had 2 Toy of the Year finalists. I've had the Dog Toy of the Year and the Craft Toy of the Year. In 2003, 2004, I got introduced to the DRTV market space by QDirect, and then our first product was called Floam in 2005, 2006. That opened my eyes to what's possible on the DRTV side, and we've become exclusively focused on DRTV business. I manage campaigns for our clients, and we also extract products from a cohort of inventors, and we license those products out. You can certainly see a couple of our products right now, the Wobble Wag Gigaball by All-Star, which is a dog toy, and a series of products from J at Play in the kids market space.
Thank you. As you can see, the format of the panel is interesting. We have a product marketer, we have market research, we have media company, and we have campaign management. So we try to include each of the segments so that we can see, get a much more clearer view of how each of these companies interact with multi-channel MER. So when you say omni-channel, I guess our title of the session is Omni-Channel. There's a lot included in it. It has retail, it has catalog. We are not going to focus on all of it today. We're going to focus primarily on search and particularly that what's happening on Amazon, because typically that is the missing piece. Most of the campaigns that are running today have landing pages where the orders can be taken, they can be attributed to the media, you have phone orders or IVR, but what's missing today typically is Amazon. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, just to define, we will talk about marketplace a lot, the online retail marketplace. Amazon obviously is the biggest one, but there are other companies also that are marketplaces. And what I mean by marketplace is a very large e-commerce site that has dedicated users that come there to buy a product. And these marketplaces allow third parties to basically sell the product on those websites. So it's like renting a store in a mall. And the mall drives the traffic, mall gives the infrastructure, and you decide how to sell your product, how to price it. You have full control of your product on the marketplace, and the marketplace will collect a commission. Now, interestingly enough, Amazon has also a retail arm, and then what the retail arm does is typically they will just buy product wholesale, and then they will sell it to consumers. So if you go on Amazon, you will see sold and shipped by Amazon. That's the retail arm. If you go see sold by DNA and shipped by Amazon, that's the marketplace arm. So we participate, our company participates in the marketplace piece. So just when you talk about marketplace, so setting up the stage. So I'm going to have Jeff, since he's the market research guru, walk us through a couple of slides before we start our discussion.
So this slide here really just depicts where do consumers go when they're doing product research with an intent to buy. And as you can see, this Forrester study from last year showed the rapid decline of users going to Google to find the products that they're interested in purchasing. And quite dramatically, as you can see, more than half, and that's not a trend that Google typically is used to in anything they do. So you can read quite a bit about it by just searching Google and versus Amazon. It was quite entertaining. This slide here shows you the growth of Amazon, which clearly is at the expense of Google, and where people are going to search that have an intent to buy a product. So this isn't just organic search. This is anyone, and this is U.S.-based data. Anyone in the U.S. that has an intent to buy a good, a hard good, they're going to Amazon before they go to Google or other marketplaces. And it was interesting, just yesterday, some new data came out to update this for 2015, and fortunately Ranjit caught it, and so wait, there's more. And now Amazon has 44% of all search consumers, okay? So consumers that are doing search for their products. That's staggering. The rest of the marketplaces combined are about 34%. So that's not a good sign. And retailers, turns out, are about 21%. So again, 21% of people that want a product go to the retail site that they believe they can purchase the product at, or it might be available at. And so this is why everyone's so worried about Amazon. This is why this is a huge force in our industry right now, and I mean in our industry, direct response, and anybody selling goods anywhere in the world, and not just in the U.S. So if you look at these other marketplaces here in this slide, they're worth noting. If for no other reason, they recognize it and they're trying to make changes and they're trying to adapt their sites to be more holistic. So many of the traditional retailers in the U.S. are now branching out and allowing a marketplace type environment, meaning you don't have to sell your product to them where they price it and market it the way they want. They're actually opening up and letting you bring your product in and managing the whole product flow, pricing, acquisition, returns, warranty process yourself, because they recognize what's happening and they're feeling the impact of Amazon. They've got quite a road to hoe to go against Amazon, particularly in the way Amazon likes to bring in consumers with programs like Amazon Prime, and the way they can do predictive analysis on you and know what you want to shop for and where you want to go. And those are the reasons, some of the main reasons why consumers continue to go back to Amazon. One last fact I'll give you, because I'm a research fact guy, so I just report the news, I don't make it up. Less than 2%, so just a little bit over 1% of Amazon Prime users today go anywhere else to shop for goods. So that's 99% of those people only go to Amazon. They never leave the site if they find what they want. that number of people using Amazon Prime is expected to grow to over 40% of the US population by 2020.
Thank you, Jeff. So, many of you, I'm sure, are Amazon shoppers. Amazon is all about shoppers, and they want to give the shoppers the best experience. I want to just ask, I'll ask Tricia, because she's the perfect demographic. More than 50% of Amazon shoppers are women. So why do you buy on Amazon, Tricia, and why do you buy on Amazon?
My husband would say I buy on Amazon entirely too much. But, I think I go to Amazon. I'm a working mother of 3 kids. I'm, very busy. It's easy. I trust it. It's a trusted site. The reviews are telling. And you go back again and again because, it is a trusted site. And there's a lot of validation that goes on in that marketplace.
Now, Andy, you and I talked about it, and you're really into the reviews because you think the reviews on Amazon are actually driving sales outside of Amazon. So where do you think that?
Because I trust them. People look at online reviews as a way to make a decision about whether they're buying their product or not. And they go to review sites to look at that. And Amazon is one of the key places where you can get that data. It's also true that there are sites that have been set up whose sole purpose is to provide detrimental data to your product. And you have to be able to counter that. And so by having a trusted review base like Amazon allows you to counteract some of the negative reviews that you will see in other spaces. And I think it's a really important you can't over account for that fact. The other thing is that the Amazon imprimatur just gives the buyer so much more comfort. And where it used to be that people would not buy product online or call up an IVR number, if they can click on Amazon and buy it from Amazon and return it to Amazon if they don't like it, that's a huge comfort level. And we've seen an explosion in the campaigns that we manage with the Amazon participation, and we think it's due to that comfort level of the consumer.
Thanks. Tim, you are selling your Wolfgang Puck products on Amazon for almost 2 years now. So as a product marketer, why do you think Amazon is important?
Well, it's clear that it's a sales channel. 5 years ago, it was not that meaningful. Now it's a significant sales channel. So as you analyze your MER, you need to factor those sales into your systems as soon as you can. Secondly, because of the reviews and the searches that we're talking about, it's really, at this point, as the numbers show, better than Google for consumers that are searching that have interest. So it's efficiently targeting those marketers. In Time Life's case, we believe in long-term brands. And one thing that we're able to do through the marketplaces is control our pricing. If you consider Amazon a traditional marketer like a Walmart, you'd sell them the product at a wholesale price. They could price it however they want, just like any of the other retailers. And their systems are so sophisticated that if any of their competitors ever discount the price, Amazon would catch it and match that forever. So in our case, where we're selling prestige product, it's extremely important to maintain our list price, and that then helps all of the other retailers compete on a level playing field. So as Amazon grows, this will become more and more important for the other retailers to comp against, to see what the Amazon pricing is, and then put pressure on you as the marketer to change your pricing structure.
Thank you. So, part of the challenge with Amazon is getting the data, because if you're going to do media attribution, you need to know who's buying the product, when they are buying the product, potentially where they're buying the product, so you can match all of those orders to your media, just like you do with your phone orders and web orders. But that's the challenge, isn't it? And why do you think that is a challenge? Why is it difficult to get the sales data from Amazon?
It's difficult to get the data if Amazon is buying the product from you wholesale. You cannot see what the traffic is. You cannot see when the orders were placed. You can't then allocate those orders to your media campaign. When you control the distribution on Amazon, you have access to all of that data. Our best products right now, 40% of the orders are coming through Amazon during the DRTV phase. And we cannot just say, okay, we don't care about that 40% of the data. I need that data, and I need it at 8 a.m. in the morning every day for what happened yesterday. I can't have it next week. I can't have it 10 days from now. We've got to make buying decisions and campaign decisions in real time. And so access to that data, which should drive your campaigns, is essential. And with the Amazon share of the market, you just can't ignore it. You have to have access to that data.
Absolutely, and like Tim was saying 2 years ago, this wasn't as big of an exposure, piece. Certainly, as the growth of Amazon and the sales are, the growth of the sales there, from a media buying perspective, it's essential that you have that data. You need to tie that back into your media buy, and like Andy said, it's critical to make decisions in real time. If not, you're leaving money on the table.
Yeah, so there is a way to, obviously, if you control your distribution on Amazon, if you're selling it yourself, then you have access to all of the data. You know exactly who buy the product. You can go into your Amazon account and take that data and then feed it to your media agency, and so they can start attributing that data to your media spend. This another interesting thing is, obviously, we saw Amazon allows anybody to sell the product. So if somebody gets hold of your product, whether it's a distributor or somebody else sells to somebody else, those products show up on Amazon. And then they can actually make your data collection little, you call it cloudy, doesn't it?
So another real-time update. I haven't shared this with Ranjit. I was with a very large client of ours out of Europe, and they're a major marketer in Europe, and we were talking about Amazon. They have 2 full-time dedicated people that do nothing but keep the Amazon channel clean for them. Full-time dedicated. Because what happens is they put a product out, it goes on Amazon, they go home that day from work. When they come in the next morning, there's people plagiarizing it, stealing it, knocking it off, and they're all over Amazon. So it takes a lot of effort and work to keep your channel clean, but you can see that the kind of impact it can have can be pretty devastating if you don't manage it, and the kind of resources you may have to dedicate could be significant. So, finding people that can help you with that is really important, and you need to get ahead of it before your campaign starts, because once it gets out, Tim can attest to and Andy can attest to, once it gets out, it's a lot harder to get the genie back in the bottle.
Tim, you have first-hand experience keeping Amazon clean because you've been selling the Wolfgang Puck product for almost 2 years. And you had instances where the channel was getting out of control, but you brought it back. So what?
And we don't have the scale of the company that Jeff was talking about, so we've actually hired DNA to help us with keeping the channel clean. Every day, new competitors pop up at various price points, some higher, some lower, some through eBay, some through back doors of retailers, some international. And working through the Amazon systems in the legal department and trademark protection and your SKU and your property official distributors that are the only people authorized sellers that should be on there, we've been able to maintain the top position almost every day. Every once in a while we'll slide off. Well, it's whack-a-mole. You'll knock out whoever that competitor is and you'll be back in that top position. But as you can imagine, from a marketer standpoint, if this is a channel that's accounting for 10, 20, or 40% of your sales, and all of a sudden the main seller on there is not you, it's somebody who's undercutting you, it's substantial. So,
and
so
it's
we spend a lot of time on this.
This actually, we are not even going to talk about it today, but also consider counterfeits. A lot of the popular products, when they launch, you will start seeing offers shipped from China, 2-week delivery. And oftentimes we've bought those products and they turned out to be a total counterfeit. So we're not going to go to that. Assuming everything is wonderful, assuming now you're selling on Amazon, you have channel under control, you're getting all the data, we will move on to the next phase of the discussion. I've been coming to ERA for 4 years, and every year for the last couple of years, when I said, have you thought about Amazon? And people say, are you kidding me? They cannibalize my sales. So these guys have been selling on Amazon. My question to you, pick one of these 3 options. Yes, Amazon cannibalizes my DRTV sales, so I'm not going to go there. B, yes, it does cannibalize some sales, but the advantage I'm getting, the incremental sales I'm getting, the data I'm getting from Amazon far exceeds the small amount of cannibalization. Or C, it doesn't cannibalize at all. I'm convinced that all Amazon sales or marketplace sales are incremental. So I'll start with you, Jeff.
I'll just say the only time it cannibalizes your sales is if you're not on Amazon, because people are going there to look for the kinds of products you're all selling. Unless you've got something fairly rare and unique, then they're going to go there and you're going to be left out. Kind of like, it's like my analogy is going to the mall. You pay for them to go to the mall. You're a consumer, you give them a free ride. You even give them a coupon and they walk in the door and they go in the competitor's store and you never see them again. So that's the only time it's really cannibalizing, when you're not on Amazon.
We did a lot of testing early on when we launched on Amazon a couple of years ago to see at the exact same price points, or for a few weeks we actually raised our price on Amazon higher than our list price on our website to try to gauge, depending on the media spend, what percentage is cannibalized. What we found, and this goes back a couple of years, so it should be smaller now, but we found that it was 1 or at most 2% of the overall business that was being pulled away from our traditional website over to Amazon. But when you take the incremental lift that you get from Amazon, and that can be 10 to 40% depending on the projects that I've seen, the benefit far outweighs it. But there is a touch of that cannibalization. I think, to Jeff's point, if Prime continues to build the way that it's trending to build, and that's the only place that huge amount of U.S.-based consumers are going to search, that 1 or 2% will continue to get smaller and smaller and smaller, and the percentage of sales coming off the Amazon sites will get bigger.
Tricia?
I agree with Tim. It's a very small degree of cannibalization, but you can't ignore the channel, and and you just can't. Yeah, exactly. And so you have to just look at it as part of your mix, and if you're not there, you're losing.
Yeah.
And it's pretty simple.
Yeah, thank you. Andy?
So we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars to drive a customer to the web to search for a product, and they're not going to go www.wobblewagiggleball.com. They're not going to do that. They're going to go to Google and search for Wobble Wag Giggle Ball, or they're going to go to Amazon and search for Wobble Wag Giggle Ball. Our conversion rates on Amazon are 4 to 5 times the conversion rate on general search. The customer searching on Amazon wants to buy your product, and it doesn't cannibalize your sales an iota. In fact, I think they leverage your activity on television and increase your sales because of the comfort level that the buyer has with Amazon. We do some consulting for large companies and small companies, and 2 guys out of Massachusetts have our most successful product. And they had launched on Amazon first. And they had what was called an open website. So when you went to their website, you could buy the primary offer, you could buy anything you wanted. We shut that down and turned it to a single primary offer website. Our results took a nosedive. We went back up, it's an open website, and they also have an Amazon store that they manage on their own. 60% of their sales come through the Amazon site from the get-go. And if I'm trying to calculate an MER, my MER for them would be greatly reduced if I don't take that into account. And they clearly demonstrated to us that Amazon in no way cannibalized their sales. In fact, it greatly increased their sales. And it's the most successful product we currently have.
And it's just interesting. I see a lot of different types of products come through our agency, and the product categories certainly play out in the amount of activity on Amazon. But the kids' products, it's a natural extension. Moms are buying it. It's a trusted site. Those numbers just shoot through the roof.
Thank you. So the other topic that I talk to literally dozens of companies is when is the right time to take your product and start selling it on Amazon? Because you have the 4 typical phases of a launch. You're testing the product. Typically, you're not going anywhere, but just testing to see if anybody's going to buy it. Look at the MER to decide if you're going to now launch it. Once you launch it, you're driving your campaign, and obviously you are maximizing your margins and getting numbers so you can then go to retail. Then you're obviously going to distribution. And distribution could be just distributors, or could be just retail, or combination. And then ramp down would be, okay, that's last year's product. I think we milked it as much as we could. We need to move on. So the question for and the blue line back there kind of shows how much media you're spending, because obviously you're not going to spend any more media in the end-of-life product, because everybody either knows about it, everybody who's going to buy it already bought it, and you're trying to figure out what to do next. So I'll start with Jeff. What is the right time? Because everybody has a slightly different. I'm hearing like I want to use Amazon for testing. Why wouldn't I test the product with 240 million customers? So I'm curious to see what you think is the right time to get on Amazon.
Well, just from the clients that we deal with, it seems like if you look at the objectives of keeping your channels clean and having control, so you have a clean data, so you can really figure out what's working and what's not, then certainly the beginning is always the best time. I would say our clients have a mix, though, of people that actually test there and people that maybe test in a traditional channel, more like a television, or sometimes even at retail in a small controlled test before they go to Amazon. The trend I'm seeing, it's still early though, is probably more where people are actually testing there, because you can go out very unexpectedly, pull things down, change things dynamically, and if any of you that have ever tried to push to retail, that's a long pipe to fill and to pull, and it doesn't respond real quickly sometimes. And even the DRTV campaigns, you've got to now go to folks like Trish and say, hey, stop that campaign, redo this, and there's a lot of gyrations and a lot of wasted money and effort. So I think the trend's moving that way.
Okay, Tim?
Yeah, I think the trend for us too is moving it further up to the beginning of the testing. We like to control our variables in the early stages, so we test as narrowly as we possibly can with TV, phones, traditional website. Usually within a few weeks, we have enough of a read there that we can then start adding variables. Amazon is the first one behind that we do before any retail, which is much further downstream.
Right. Patricia?
I would say you test on Amazon as soon as you have inventory. And certainly there's so much you can do to understand your offer, to understand how to execute your inventory, testing whether blue does better than green, who's buying it, what SKUs are selling better, that there's so much you can do up front in a campaign that's going to really help maximize your back end.
Thank you. And do you have anything to add? Okay. He agrees with everybody.
Yep.
So now this is, I'm going to ask Andy and Tricia to really share with us what data. First of all, you get all this data from Amazon. You can get the sales data, order data, you get the geographic location by zip code, you get the timestamp up to a second, you get page views, you get conversion, all this stuff that we can provide, one can get out of Amazon. And you guys are, Andy and Tricia, you guys are really taking the data and creating analytical models and things like that. So share a little bit with the audience here. What do you do with the data? How do you use it? What's missing? What more could be added to it? What more you could be using that from the data you already have?
I give the data to Trish and let her analyze it. But there's also the whole Google Analytics side on top, where you can extract an enormous amount of information on every buyer that you just couldn't have access to before. 3 years ago, it was when did they come to the website, when did they click, when did they buy? And today, it's, we had a product that did really well with gay men in the South. Now, that's really actually useful information. It's really useful, and there's just no way to get that data prior to the kind of data collection techniques that are now apparent. And we all have our preferred web providers. I promise you, Amazon's data collection is way better than anybody else you're using. Way better. And they'll always be ahead of that curve, because what they're selling is that data. And they're always on top of it. It is state of the art.
And I think we talk about the transformation of the industry in the past few years. I think the same holds true for data. We're all mining data, and we have it's what you do with it. And I think what you did with it last year is different than what you do with it today. Is different than what you do with it, tomorrow. And you really have to look at it as a dynamic marketplace, and build on your systems and constantly look for the next solution.
Okay. Tim, do you have anything to add?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go to the next slide. Now this is actually, believe it or not, it's real data. We have, and this is data that a project that Trisha and Andy are working on, and it's currently on television and on Amazon. And so Andy, maybe you can, it's a 3 months worth of data. You can kind of you gave Trisha the raw data, and this came out of it. What do you conclude here?
We started Amazon too late.
So the blue arrow shows when you actually launched Amazon, but you were running the media about month and a half before that.
6 weeks prior.
Okay.
And the moment we turned Amazon on, we could only provide a little bit of inventory to them. And so there was a ramp-up period for them. And as soon as we could fully supply them with inventory, which is a critical part of feeding the Amazon market space, the improvement in the campaign was evident. So I think what this campaign shows a couple of things, the data here. One is that Amazon helped the campaign fundamentally. Two, we were too late. We should have started it earlier. And I think that's it.
And then the right-hand side numbers are the MER numbers, and left-hand side are number of orders. And then this shows how the orders were coming in every second when you are on the TV, right?
Yes, that's what the minute data says. And the bigger data says, turn Amazon on earlier and mine it.
Okay. Trisha?
Go back to something that we were talking about before, because I think this is what I see in my space, is keeping that channel clean and the importance of that. From a daily basis and a media management side, you see percentages, if you don't keep your channel clean, go from 30 and 40%, and you have third-party distributors coming in and undercutting your price, that falls to 9-10%. That's a huge shift.
Yeah.
And if you can't control that, your MER and your profitability is all over the place.
On this campaign, do you think it's going to adding to like a longer tail as well? I mean, the early data shows that, but I don't know now that it's a little bit later since September, where you keep running more media because of this, because it's performing, and because you're on Amazon, or do you not know yet?
I don't know, but on our other product that's heavily Amazon-based, we're into our second year, no retail, very long tail, very aggressive sales. And it could be that we'll be able to keep that product out of retail, actually, just because it's been so profitable on the DR space. We'll be entering our third year in January.
Okay. Before we go we have some more data slides to show. Before we go there, I wanted to just get an idea of the mix of the crowd. If you are a marketer, can you just raise your hand if you're a marketer with a product? If you are a media agency, if you are an attorney, Dan. What else am I missing? Creative folks here? Am I missing any categories? Fulfillment? Data analyst? Okay, so we have a good mix of people here. So let's go to the next slide. I think Jeff has some additional charts that he can barely read, but he's going to actually tell us what they mean.
Yeah, they're prepared by my accountant, so with a 4-point font. These are actually screenshots from a campaign, a pilot we were doing with a client of ours who's we've anonymized who it is, but in the beauty space. And what we were doing was we have a solution called Multi-Channel Attribution Tracker, where we pull in the phone data and the web data and Amazon data, and every 20 minutes or so near real time, so you can get a sense of where how your product's doing and what's affecting it. So what's interesting in this slide is what you see here is the peaks, and you can notice the time of day it is. It's in the overnights. And when certain DRTV commercials were running, and the networks they were on, was the labels, and then the bar, the green bar are their phone sales. So this particular client has heavy phone sales, and they're getting more and more web sales, and they're really trying to understand, the behaviors that are going on between the two, and what intermediate steps are going on. So you can see that what we're able to do is say, okay, what stations are performing the best in driving, and it's not always the ones, they don't always correlate with your phone data, right? So there's some demos who just would rather shop, not only on Amazon, but maybe rather shop on the web than make the phone call. And that actually can be broken out by, it could be by network, it could be by day part. There's a lot of factors you can read into this, but just kind of shows the volume of activity that you're getting through the web versus on the phone on a product. And this also includes, this particular slide includes activity on their site. So it's not sales, but it's activity. The phone data is actually a call. So it's not a sale, but it's a call. So what we were measuring was almost kind of like that first call to action, the first click, if you will, not the last one. And you can see that the impact. The next slide.
So this, I just want to add something. This particular slide obviously doesn't have any marketplace data. You're looking at a traditional web and phone. I showed earlier, and I just guessed at the numbers. I want you guys to verify. What is the mix between the sales on the web, when you have a landing page, and sales on the phone, whether it's live operators or IVR? I put in 70 to 80% web, 20 to 30% phone orders. Is that your experience?
We see anywhere on average between 50% to 99%.
50% to 99% web orders, depending on the product.
In the kids market space, 95% is the minimum web-based business. That's right.
Is because of just the demographic and
young moms,
the accessibility of all of these. Right?
Young moms watching the television show, clicking on their phone, going to Amazon, buying the product before they leave the couch.
Yeah, and there was. You go ahead.
Seniors. And in the seniors category, we're still about 60% phone. So it really is, it depends on your product.
Is that touch tone or dial phone?
Rotary.
Thank you. So let's go to the next slide, Jeff.
So this slide gives you a little bit broader look at what happens in the search world. So not just what's happening on your site, same client. And what we did was we measured the two small lines at the bottom, the green and the yellow. That's the brand we were working with in the green, and the yellow was its biggest competitor. And you notice that they both tracked fairly similarly as far as activity when they were, and it was tied to, and what we were measuring was when they were running heavy DR. And then you can see when they had their spikes, and if you match the competitors' data, which we did as well, to their airings, we saw that it was a direct correlation, so not a lot of surprise there. The aha in this slide, though, is when you look at the search terms that aren't the product name. This is the beauty category, so you can imagine picking a subcategory in beauty and not searching the brand. So you would search something on the category. So how many people are searching this? So the point of this is how many people are going to the web to either buy the product or research the product, and is it being driven by the media on TV, okay? And this I can tell you unequivocally is, because you can look at the timestamp and what is happening, and there's not like there's a hair convention going on at 2 a.m. in the morning and everyone's rushing to look up something they just learned. So the data you see here is for two very generic terms, keywords, in this space. So think of it this way. You're out there and you're selling on the web, you're measuring that traffic, but imagine 5 to 7 times that number of people are searching around that keyword and term. So when they go there, what are they seeing? Well, that's where they're starting to see Amazon. Yeah. If they don't go directly to Amazon, they're starting to see players pop up. In this particular example, the client did a very good job when they put in the product name of kind of owning that first page, and everyone talks about that, whether it's paid or organic. So they had terms, and they had paid ads, and they had reviews and things, and they did a very good job there. But when you looked at the generic term, they weren't even on the first page. So again, back to the analogy of going to the mall and letting them walk into the competitor's store. So they got them all the way down the funnel and not even showing up there for him.
No, it's actually interesting because as we started our session by saying the world's biggest search engine for product today is Amazon, 44%. And we, in our company, we treat Amazon like a search engine. So we do exactly what people are doing on Google, search engine optimization. You got to, optimize your keywords for searches. You have to look at the search. You can advertise on Amazon just like you can advertise on Google. You can do promotions on Amazon just like you do promotions on Google. So it's all about search, and it's all about search optimization so that in the millions of products Amazon has, your product shows up on page 1 or page 2, even though the consumer may not be searching specifically for a brand name. Maybe they're just searching for aloe vera skincare. And if you have aloe vera skincare, why you need to try your best to be on the first page, either through a natural search result or put an ad through Amazon and be on the first page. So it's interesting. I think we're going to leave the reason why we're rushing, not because of the lunch that's waiting there, but we wanted to have 10 or 15 minutes questions, and I hope you guys have some questions. I'm just going to wrap up here on what we kind of covered today. There's no dispute that Amazon's king of product searches, 240 million die-hard Amazon shoppers, probably 50 plus million die-hard Prime shoppers, and Prime shoppers are junkies. They buy 3 times more products on Amazon than the non-Prime shoppers, which is a no-brainer, 2-day free shipping. And so having your offer on Amazon that's Prime eligible can add 15 to 20% incremental sales to your sales on Amazon. So that's one. And then you should use the biggest search engine or the biggest marketplace to take your products in there. I think the old school thinking is changing, where people say, hey, I'm not giving product to anybody. I'm going to force them to call my phone number. But as you can see, 99% of people are going on web. There's a large percentage of people who are watching TV have a second device. At least I do. And there's also a large percent of people, and this is the data that came from Nielsen, which I didn't put in here because we had too many slides. The large number of people have tablets or phone when they're watching TV, and out of those, large number of people actually make purchases of the products that they just seen on TV. So that's another trend that's driving the importance of Amazon. The other topic we talked about, okay, this is all cool, but how do I protect my price? How do I protect my brand on Amazon? Because anybody can sell the product, so the product marketers have to be more disciplined, like Tim. They have made conscious decision to control Amazon. They made conscious decision not to distribute the product everywhere. And that's how they maintained their price for almost 2 years. And in the same price that they have is in all the retails, because everybody's matching everybody's price. So I bet when you go to Walmart buyer, first thing he logs in the morning and looks at his Amazon prices. They have scrapers, they're scraping each other and trying to match pricing. And that's why it's important to maintain your price on Amazon so that you can have a balanced pricing in your retail. The other topic we talked about, the Omni-Channel, the Nirvana Omni-Channel attribution with marketplace is not easy. You got to get the clean data. And again, you have to maintain the channel, but once you get the data, you have media agencies and campaign managers are sophisticated enough to take that data, massage it, and blend it with your other sales data from other channels. Other important topic, and I think that everybody agreed to some extent, is why not use Amazon for testing? Now, you can't do testing on Amazon if you don't have a product. It's like I order now and will ship in 2 months. That doesn't work. You have to have inventory available. That's the only way you can sell on Amazon. But if you have 300 units, 500 units, and if you're wanting to use Amazon for testing, you could do it. Blue versus green, a dog versus cat. You can test pricing. You can test upsells. And it's I think, personally, it's a great place where you can actually expand your test bed to using Amazon as well. And then the last point we want to make is, what goes on Amazon can affect your entire business. And we've seen many, many examples. People would call and say, oh my God, Walmart just called me. They're going to drop the price. And they're now telling me that I have to renegotiate my wholesale price. I could lose $5 million because I didn't control what was happening on Amazon. So it's Amazon. That way it can hurt your business, but Amazon is incremental revenue, as most people agreed. It's incremental revenue, people are going to buy it. I think the important thing is you can't force the consumers to go dial that 800 number, especially with newer generation folks. They don't dial anybody. They're texting people. My kids don't they call me. I have to call them, I have to force call them and pick up, emergency, please pick up. I get text message. So the new generation, 25 and under, don't want to call their parents. They're not going to call 800 number and wait for an upsell. And that's why I think you'd see the trend, the phone orders are going down, but they go to the web. But again, if you're driving them to your web page, just like Andy said, never heard of this brand, and never heard of this company, buymygadget.com. Oh, I have to pull out my card. Oh, but I'm using my mobile device. I'll just go on Amazon and click, click, click. I don't have to put my credit card number. I sound like I'm an Amazon salesman, by the way. I used to, by the way, just for clarity. I was an executive at Amazon for 4.5 years before I started DNA. But I'm a consumer. I'm a diehard consumer on Amazon. We buy everything from refrigerator to tractors. No, we haven't bought tractor yet. But it's the convenience, right? So the message here is do not ignore Amazon. Don't let it go out of control. Take control in the early stages and then mine it for the value that it's going to provide. So with that, I'm going to open up for questions. I hope you have lots of questions for the panel.
Hi. When you're testing on Amazon with new products, is it through a store? Do you set up your own store for that, or are you doing it through the wholesale channel with Amazon?
You can't do testing with the wholesale because what it means by wholesale is simple. Somebody from Amazon will call you because they are monitoring searches. They know everybody's searching for bubble, wobble dog, right? So they're going to call you and say, hey, I'm Joe from Amazon. I would like to buy 500 units of the product. Here's what we offer wholesale price. And the challenge is most people, when they get that call from Amazon, it's like, oh my God, Amazon's calling me. And then they quickly sell the product. Then it's gone. You don't get nothing. You don't get any data. You sold them the product, they get the data. So they are mining it, but you don't get to use it. So the only way, if you want to mine the data, if you're trying things on Amazon that you want to roll out, you have to sell it either yourself, and if you don't have the resources, then you have to hire somebody like me. But I'm not trying to promote myself. But you can hire somebody else who will then spend time and the energy, has the technology, has the knowledge, and then give you the data or give your media agency the data. So that's the only way, that's really the only way to get the data is you control the channel. Because if you sell it to a distributor, again, the same thing, you're going to get a check, and then that's it. And most distributors, I don't believe they're even mining the data. They're moving units, right? Their main goal is to move as many units as fast as possible and make some money.
We have some clients who have the talent on board to set up their own store, and they can do it. In many other cases, we refer to an agency such as DNA because they do a great job setting it up, and we get much quicker response when it's a third party responsible for it. Sometimes it gets to the bottom of the list at our clients, and it doesn't change fast enough.
Would you say that being successful in Amazon guarantees success in retail?
No. Doesn't guarantee anything, but your chances are much, much better. That's my take on it.
I think what it does is it gives you, if you deal with Amazon through one of the marketplaces and you can get the data and you can put it into your formulas, it makes you much smarter with how you spend your marketing money. If you're much smarter with spending your marketing money and you build the momentum, the chance of succeeding at retail is higher. It's not guaranteed, but the chance is higher. And when you understand things like a spot on Lifetime Network at 2 o'clock in the morning, you saw the spikes that it did, and you figure out how efficiently you can garner direct sales out of that, then you can figure out how to support the retailer and create the incremental foot traffic for them to drive the sale.
You will get interest. You will get interest if you're really doing well on Amazon in a category that's important to a retailer. They'll call you. I've got a close cohort who does a lot of work in the boat industry, accessories, and Amazon is the biggest channel now. And 4 years ago, we didn't have anything. And he says about 60 to 70% of the products he puts on Amazon, his retailers are calling about within about 6 months to 9 months. And prior to that, when he go in and pitch them on the product, they we're not really sure, but because what it is, it's validation.
Okay.
I saw some of you taking pictures. I don't know if you were just taking pictures because they're all good-looking people, but I am going to make this presentation available on our website, and you can download it. And then the last thing I want to also leave here is we already covered questions. I think we have a couple more. But here's the contact information for everybody on the panel. Feel free to reach out to us. We love to talk and solve complex problems and share our experiences. I believe ERA is also making that video of this session available.
Yes, we'll have it. We'll have the video on our website.
Okay. All right. Any more questions? Okay. Well, we'll hang out here for a few more minutes. If you want to talk to each of us individually, please come and talk to us. And I appreciate you coming, and thanks again, and have a great day.
Thank you.